Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, Victor's back. Um, it was good to see the actor. So, Victor's back. And, his first order of business is to have Brady seduce Chloe so this way Philip can focus on work again. And I'm just like, wait, what? Like, first of all, we haven't seen you in like months. And the first order of business when you get back is to have Brady, is to pimp out Brady to seduce Chloe so this way your boy can focus more on the business. Okay. Let's just all think about that for a minute. And by the way, you know, Victor calling Chloe all sorts of names like tramp and everything else, and yet Brady just kind of standing there like, I'm sitting there looking at this whole thing. I'm like, so you're not gonna bother to sit there and defend your friend? That's just not gonna happen. But the minute that Victor says something about Kristen, you're like, oh, okay, all right. Now you want to speak up. Wow, some friend you are. I'm like, wasn't you married to her at one point? Um, Now I'm gonna be honest. I don't know exactly how much Chloe heard when she walked in, because Victor was like, so you in? Are you out? Or you gonna sit there and seduce her? Like, what's going on? And Chloe walks in like, yeah, I want to hear that answer too. Now before that, Philip went to go visit Chloe in the office, and at first she was getting all super defensive, thinking that Philip was spying on her. Which, okay, I give you some leeway, because he has been, well, a little OD about that. But he surprises her. He takes her out for a nice romantic picnic, pulls out all the stops and everything like that. Now there's one point where they're sitting there talking about, Philip's sitting there talking about how, he carved their initials in a tree. And, you see footage and stuff like that. And, like, every time I see, like, really old footage of them, I'm just, like, I'm always just in awe, Like, that they've been on the show that long. Like, granted, they've left and come back and stuff like that. Like, and one of my subscribers, Lois, sent me this video. And there's one point where you see like Lucas, like really young Lucas, like just like it's like a time machine. That's the best way I can say to describe it. Anyway, he talks about the whole carving the initials in the tree and stuff like that, and then Chloe's all like, "Well, you chopped it down," and Philip was like, "Yeah, this is after I found out about you cheating on me." And she still has that look on her face like, you make it seem like he just chopped it down because he was just mad that, I don't know, you dinged his car or something. You literally cheated on a man, and you're going to sit there and be all like, super defensive, but you chopped it down. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a more reasonable approach to dealing with your infidelity. Are you kidding me? Honestly, tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie. When she said that, I just stood there. I was like, Philip, why are you with this chick for? Now, I do kind of funny that I'm sitting there saying that now, and when she first came in there, if you go back and watch one of my old videos, you'll see that I was just like, wait, hold on, you was with her? Like, she picked you? And you cheated on her? What are you, nuts? Now, granted, I do not condone cheating. But I am looking at Chloe a little bit differently now. Anyway, long story short, they make up and, they plant another tree. And, the date went well. So, of course, he gets the text from Ava. And when he gets there, Ava's like, yeah, just let you know, Gabby's plotting on your, your destruction. She's plotting against you. Now, of course, Ava and Gabby, once again, get into an argument. Because Gabby, I feel like this woman has the mentality of someone who's still stuck in high school. It's the best way I can sit there and describe. There's one point where Ava's like, why do you even dislike me for? And, Gabby brings up all the bad stuff that, she did to Steve and Kayla and stuff like that. And, of course, Ava's like, yeah, so we're going to talk about your stuff that you did too, right? Like controlling Julie's pacemaker because, I don't know, you were just in a bad mood or whatever. I'm sitting there looking at it like, sweetheart, how are you going to sit there and throw dirt in her face? How are you going to sit there and bring up dirt when you clearly got dirt of your own? How does that work? I'm literally just like, what? Like, is this chick serious? So you get into an argument back and forth. You exchange some words. Even Ava brings up the fact that it's like, yo, listen, at least with Kate, she had class. I mean, this whole thing started in when she walked in the room and you see Gabby kissing Jake, and, Ava's like, yeah, why don't you get a room? Like, pick a room in his house and just go in it and do that stuff. You don't need to be out in the open. And, of course, Gabby's all like, oh, well, this is my house. I can sit there and kiss him wherever I want. I'm like, sweetheart. I mean, unless I got something wrong, I'm pretty sure that it is Rafe's house. I'm pretty sure it's Rafe's house. Now, I get it. They're siblings and stuff like that. Well, mine is yours is mine. But technically, I'm pretty sure all the bills is in Rafe's name. So her still, her being all bossy, talking about, oh, well, this is my house. I was like, do you understand how dumb you look? Now, I could be the one that's looking really stupid. And maybe Gabby does own some of the house. But I'm pretty sure from my limited amount of logic knowledge that I've known over maybe a year or so, I'm pretty sure that it is Rafe's house. With that being said, Gabby gets so upset because, Ava's like, yo, listen, weren't y'all two supposed to be going? So, why don't y'all just leave? And Gabby's like, alright, fine, we're leaving. Wait, what? Even Jake is like, first of all, Jake's like, the food's not done yet. What are you doing? And so she leaves. They're in the square, eating some stuff from Sweet Bits. After, Jake is like, yes, listen, it is what it is. Just have some food or whatever. And she even admits that, it's good. But now, Jake is like, so, is this part of your master plan? Because now we're, practically homeless. And at first Jake was like, listen, why don't we just stay at the Salem Inn? And Gabby's like, no, it's too busy, too many people we know, and yada, yada, yada. So, I'm sitting there thinking, well, where are they going to go? I mean, last time I checked, Jake doesn't really like living in DeMara's house. Of course, that's exactly where they go. I mean, to be honest, it's not really that he can be that picky. I mean, where else are they going to go? So, and Gabby, it is in Gabby's name. Why not actually stay there? To be honest, it was just like, y'all only left because Jake practically had a temper tantrum and was like, I'm not living here anymore. So, and of course they talked to Abigail. Surprised that she's back. And now all of them are going to be living under one roof, and I loving it. Especially because EJ's there, and at this point I think everyone knows how I feel about EJ. But just having all of them there, oh yeah, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be the right amount of trouble. And I think the last thing, which by the way, before I get started on that, Does anyone know actually how all these characters came back to life? Like, Abe was dead, Tony was dead, and Jack was dead. And yet, they're all still here. And it's weird because it's not like they did, unless they did like a twin storyline that I don't know about, because, you know, that's usually their fix-it problem. It's like, oh man, we killed off a favorite character. I guess we can bring him back as a twin. Because, you know, that always works so well. Anyway, if anyone knows how those characters came back, please let me know. Now, last scene, or last part of this episode, is the Jack, Gwen, Abby, and Xander. I guess it's maybe 2 parts. Abby comes over to talk to Gwen and pretty much apologizes for everything that she said and the stuff that she's done. And, I mean, I'm going to be honest. Goodness. She accepts it, you know, she forgives her, you know. But I just look at it like, alright, listen. They both done terrible things to each other. You know? Terrible. Terrible things to each other. And, you know, I wasn't a fan of Gwen when she first started, you know, especially, like, you know, her doing that to their family off of half-assed information. So Gwen, you know, really did a number on Abigail. On top of that, gave her a drug that nearly killed her. And, you know, side effects that she may be having for the rest of her life. So, you know, by no stretch of imagination am I saying that Gwen is the better person per se, but the stuff that Abigail said was like, it was evil. It was absolutely evil. It was disgusting. And as a mother, I was just surprised that those words even came out of her mouth. You know, she was talking about she was so hell-bent on getting back at Gwen. And I'm just like, would you have pushed, like, children and elderly out the way, just sit there and get to her? I mean, that's what I got out of what she was saying. She was like, I was so mad at you that this happened and that happened. I'm like, you know, the sad part is that what happened to Gwen falling down those steps, let's say she was still pregnant or whatever, was a problem. Yeah, that would have sucked. It was an accident, but that would have sucked. You know, like, it would have been like, alright, you know, listen, as bad as it wasn't as bad as the fact that she came over there and started yelling at this woman, knowing that she was pregnant, saying all those nasty things to her. And at that point, even if it was an accident, you knew she was pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So there's no getting around that. But yeah, once again, she accepts her apology. And of course, Gwen feels so bad that she's going to sit there and confess. But once again, like with Jack, she chickens out. And that pretty much ends that. And she watched her, walks out the door. And she's all like, oh, I should have said something. No, sweetheart, you weren't going to say anything. Just like you weren't going to say anything to Jack. So cut that nonsense out. Now, Jack does go over to Xander's place. This is after Xander's there trying to call Justin to get back the money. Jack comes over and apologizes to Xander for all the stuff that he said, kicking him out the house, what he wrote in the paper, all of it. And so he apologizes and everything like that. The problem is he starts to come in with a bit of a, you know, he starts to come in with a story about Gwen. The thing is, you know, he's like, oh yeah, Gwen pretty much told me everything. You know, we're all good and everything like that is fine. Xander's there thinking that, no, he told him everything. Well, she told him everything. And she didn't. She just told him about the prostitute part. And the reason why she, you know, went along with Snyder. He didn't know that. So he was about to sit there. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. You saw that coming a while away. He was going to sit there and say the truth. You know, like, oh, well, you know, I didn't think you were going to forgive her for what she did to, Abigail, whatever. He was like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that she was a prostitute. What are you talking about? So at this point, Xander has to sit there and think quick. And he does. So everything's all forgiven. Now at this point, Jack is like, listen, I got eyes. So basically, I want to know what your intentions is for my daughter. Before he can answer that, Gwen comes to the door, and, Jack gives them some privacy. Now at this point, Xander's like, you could have gave me a heads up. I was about to blow everything, your whole story out the window, the whole everything. But, they both kind of realize that they're on better terms with Jack. And, the question that really is asked of Xander is that, what's going on between me and you? And I have a feeling like they're going to probably start to get a little bit more closer. And either the actress that plays Sarah is going to come back, or a new actress is going to come back and be Sarah. Either way, they need to sit there and find a way to fix this whole thing, because, again, and I know I sound like a broken record, we got Hope, that's gone, we got Sarah, that's gone, and I feel like there's something missing. Like, I feel like there's one more other person that's missing, but I can't sit there and think of who it is. But yeah, I think they're going to get close, and Sarah's going to come back somehow. And then, the fan theories is that Gwen's going to be pregnant, and whatever, sort of romance that may go on between, or reunite, that's going to go on between Xander and Sarah, well, that's going to go out the window. But that's just pretty much a lot of the fans are sitting there thinking about it, like, as far as, like, their theory. I think that's about it. I do hope that Sarah does actually come back at some point and they can get a good reunion, because I don't know. I don't like holes in stories, especially one that's been going on for this long. Particularly more with the Hope part than the Sarah part, but still. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I will see you in the next video.